Hello everyone, my name is Joanna Molenda-Żakowicz. Thank you for attending my talk, Astronomy, Why So Exclusive? The world has changed dramatically over the last 30 years, and so did we. Today, our agglomerations keep growing and become prettier. Our circle of knowledge is expanding, our understanding of the world is improving, and our plans for the future exploration are bigger than ever before. Science is penetrating the society and becoming an immanent part of the human awareness. Or does it really? Maybe that progress takes place only in the heads of the scientists, in their isolated worlds to which the society has no access, or in which it has no particular interest. Maybe there are groups of people who are virtually excluded from science, and we, the scientists, are not aware of that. In order to approach that issue, me and my colleague, Sylwester Kołomański, carried out a survey among 1,000 secondary school students. We asked them the same 20 questions which were asked to their predecessors 30 years ago, and which concern basic astronomical information about the solar system, our galaxy, and the universe. The goal of our survey was to verify if the students' basic astronomical knowledge and understanding of the universe improved over those years, or maybe it stayed the same, disregarding the rapid development of the field, the continuously refined education curricula, and the easy access to the astronomical information via various media. Of course, we found that there were questions which were more difficult to answer than others. The question about the systems of rings of Jupiter and Uranus were back-breaking. Estimating the distance to the closest stars also turned out to be tricky. Let's have a closer look at the numbers then. In 1989, when a survey was carried out among 1,000 students from one town, the median of girls' good answers was 10, and the median of boys' good answers was 12. The maximum was 20. In 2019, when the survey was carried out among another 1,000 students from 6 towns of different size, both medians increased just by 1. Taking into account the tremendous progress in astronomy which took place in the meantime, the widely available access to astronomical information, and the frequent improvements of Polish education curriculum, that increase cannot be considered as satisfactory. A more detailed analysis of the collected answers showed even more problems. We noticed a significant number of students with a score below 7, which was a very low threshold set by the authors of the original survey, and also not enough students with a score above 15, which should be considered as a threshold of satisfactory knowledge for a secondary school alumnus. We found a clear difference between the average level of knowledge between students from small cities and larger agglomerations, with the former being lower. And finally, we noticed that in our study, girls always lag behind boys, doesn't matter the city size. Deficiency of knowledge is superseded by superstition. We found a clear correlation between the percentage of students believing in astrology and the size of the towns at which they go to school and usually live. The smaller city, the lower average astronomical knowledge, and the higher number of students who declare their belief in supernatural forces. A similar correlation can be observed when we compare boys and girls, and find that girls being on average less educated, are also more superstitious. Summarizing, we found two big issues. First, kids from small towns are less educated than kids from larger agglomerations. Second, girls are less educated than boys. You may say that those findings are not very original. Many other surveys of different kinds produce similar results. That is correct, and therefore the problem which we isolated is not a problem. The problem is our attitude about the problem. A big issue may be the rather common feeling that kids from small towns, especially girls, are always less educated and that this is a kind of normal. In fact, this is not normal at all. We should remember that we are living in the 21st century and that we are born equal and that kids from small towns have the same intellectual potential as those from big cities. Quite possibly, we can look for the reason of not making the full use of the intellectual potential of our young generation, not in the students themselves, but in our own prejudices and the fact that we tend to forget that it is a society who creates differences and forms niches which are comfortable for some people, but at the same time inaccessible to the others. Let's not make astronomy one of those niches. Let's observe the society and analyze those observations. And if you notice that astronomy and science in general become more and more an exclusive hobby for the privileged ones, let's make it again an open access resource. You may start from making a similar astronomical survey among secondary school students in your country. This could be a good starting point to know what we are standing on. Having that knowledge, it will be easier to develop a proper approach to the detected problems and then to solve them. Maybe one day there will be a map of the astronomy knowledge among secondary school students from all countries in the world. Creating such a map is too much work for one person, but if we, NAEX, join forces, we will be able to do that. If you are interested in joining that project, please contact me and I will provide you with all necessary details. And now thank you for your attention and let's stay in contact.